Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mind Your Own Business. I'm Dr. Erin, your coach, and we are in the Higher Life Project where we are designing a higher life for ourselves, right? One where we are happy, joyous, and free. And we're talking about the 5 pillars of high performance being clarity, we talked about last week, and we looked at our ideal incomes. And so open up the chat room and share what's your ideal monthly income. And if you haven't done this exercise, this is your life. This is your life. Go and take time to figure this out. I'm literally, I just feel like I'm giving you all of my best, just meaning this stuff that we're working through is life-changing. And I've been doing this for 20 some years, and I just know what I know about this. So I want you to do it for yourself. So give yourself the gift of not just showing up, but doing this work. Okay, so once you find your monthly income, if you haven't done it yet, go into our Facebook group and post what your monthly income is. It's so funny. Joby and I's monthly income is exactly the same. And we didn't know. It's $33,000 a month. And I would never have known that had I not done the exercise, you know? And so thank you everyone for sharing. 10,000, 13,000. Yes. Okay, great. And then we talked about how we can reverse engineer and help and use APL Go to get you there in the next 12 months. That's easy peasy for some of us on the team. So we can help you reverse engineer those numbers. Okay, great. Yes, 20, 14. Thank you, everyone. Isn't that great to know where we're going? Okay, so I have so much to share with you about how to power up your productivity. And it's going to be, I think, different than you might ever imagine. Okay, so who here wants to, you know, when your head hits the pillow at night, feel like I totally accomplished what I wanted to accomplish and I was the person I wanted to be today? Like, we all want this, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you a definition of productivity that's going to blow your mind. Okay, and I want you to like burn this in your brain. Productivity is a measure of how well you're leading your dream. That's it. Productivity is a measure of how well am I leading my dream. If I am friends with a stay-at-home mom and her mission is to be the most ideal stay-at-home mom, I would never say you're not being productive, would I? Like, if she is leading her dream with excellence, then she is massively productive, right? Productivity is not about hours worked. Productivity is about, are you moving the needle on what matters most in your life? Are you moving the needle on the things that matter most in your life? Okay, so I am going to give you 3 concepts today. We're going to go through this really fast, but we can handle it because we got our journals out. But before I do, let's be really clear, right? We can imagine that we know this, that high performers get more done. They get the most done. But here's the weirdest thing about it. They sleep the most, they work out the most, and they have the most and best relationships. So they're not skimping. So how the heck do they get more done? Research shows they're actually the happiest people, they're less stressed, and they feel rewarded over time in their life for what they're doing. Like, they feel that I love what I'm doing feeling. So they're not superhuman. They're not overly caffeinated. That's not what gets them super productive. And they're not sleep deprived. So what the heck is it? They have deliberate habits. And we're actually going to talk about how habit formation. Okay, this came to me this morning, you guys. If you want to change your productivity, it's less about changing what you do, and it's more about changing how you think. And I'm going to teach you actually how and the neuroscience of that. Isn't that exciting? So I want you to realize in your life, let's set a foundation in your life. Let's imagine you're driving the vehicle of your life. There's a windshield and there's a rear view mirror. Which one's bigger? The windshield, by a lot. It's the direction we're moving in. I want us to be focused on the windshield way more than the rear view mirror. The rear view mirror is what I've done in the past, where I failed, the windshield of our mind, okay? And when we can master what we put on the windshield of our mind, and if we can spend most of our days in our thoughts in the windshield and not the rear view mirror, that is going to change our life, because it will trigger our thought life, and our thought life will trigger our behaviors, and we will become massively productive. Okay. So 3 by 3. First thing I want you to do is write 3 buckets on your piece of paper. People that are really productive, 3 buckets. We're going to figure out what goes in those buckets, but people that are productive are moving the needle on what matters most. So in APL Go, what do you imagine would be the 3 buckets of activity or behaviors that we could spend most of our time doing that would move the needle the most on your ideal income? What are the 3 buckets? Put them in the chat room, but I think generally speaking, they would be prospecting. And now I don't have Garth to go get the dog. Prospecting and recruiting, that could be 1 bucket. Yeah, inviting. I think prospecting, recruiting, inviting could be 1 bucket. I think sales, follow-up, closing, like that whole thing could be a bucket. And then I think helping your team could be a bucket, like coaching your team could be a bucket once you get a team. Another bucket would be, I think, skills building, personal development, right? So that would be your positivity, perseverance. Now, Brendan Burchard, the world's top high performance coach, my last mentor, he goes by the 60-40 rule, that 60% of his time he is doing the things in the bucket. 40% of the time he's living his life and doing all the things. And if we could just get to 60-40, does that make sense, everyone? Like 60% of the time I'm doing it, 40% of the time you're doing all these other things. So what goes into that 60% of the time really matters. So if you've discovered what your 3 buckets are, share with us. But I would say mine would be talking to humans, you know, all the prospecting, recruiting, marketing, closing, collecting decisions, and then personal development, managing my team, and, you know, helping my team, and skills building. Okay. So 3 buckets. So we said 3 by 3. So I want you to write your 3 buckets. The third 3, some that we're going to talk about, are productive people understand the skills that they need to skill up in. Where do you need to be lethally skilled? It is not enough to go by that old research project that you all have heard of 10,000 hours of practice will make you an expert. No, 10,000 hours of the wrong hours of doing the wrong things, 10,000 hours of cold calling people in a really bad way is not going to get you the income you want. That makes sense to us, right? So here's what I want you to understand. Again, it's how we think that's going to change our productivity. High performers, I want you to write this down. It's so good. They are relentlessly reflective and reflectively relentless. What do I mean by that? They are relentlessly reflective and reflectively relentless. What I mean by that is, we talked about the importance of assessing yourself all the time. So it's not enough to just log the hours. We have to say, how did that go? What did I do well? What did not go the way I wanted to? And that's what people mean by failing forward. They're like, where do I need to adapt and change that? So if you are calling me for a coaching call, the first thing I'm going to say, and the first thing you're going to say is it's just not working. The second thing I'll say is, okay, great. Let's look at the system. What are you doing? And there's probably things you're doing really well, like talking to people or whatever the thing is that you do well, or inviting them. You're like, I send videos to everyone and then nothing. Okay, we got to get lethally skilled at follow-up then. So you're probably lethally skilled at something. Maybe you're lethally skilled at making friends, but you're terrible at converting that into collecting a decision about APL Go. It's important to know that, isn't it? That's just assessment. So where do you need to get skillful? If we look at the 5 steps of APL Go, have a conversation. Step 2, invitation. Step 3, presentation. Pamela's typing. I just can see it. I just know it because I just know her. 4 is follow up. No, I mean, like you were going to probably, and 5 is collect a decision. And that's in our getting started training that you all want to watch. Conversation, invitation, presentation, follow up, collect a decision. Those are skill sets. So pick 3. If you know that you're going to be inviting a lot of people through social media, but you don't have a clue how to do a reel on Instagram like me, you might sign up for an Instagram reel class, or you might say to your daughter, teach me how to do a reel. So I have a marketing plan this year of what I know I want to create. And I know I got to skill up in that because that's where it's at. I don't know how to TikTok. I don't know how to tick or talk on the TikTok, but I'm going to figure it out. Okay. So what are the 3 skills you really need to get good at? And then you figure out, how can I go learn those skills? Isn't that exciting? That's going to completely power up your productivity. It's a game changer. It's not enough to do the thing over and over. You've got to assess how the thing's working. Lest you waste your time, my friends. We don't have no time to waste in our life. Let's just skill up. You have 1,000 people on Team Popstars you can skill up with. Okay, so we're not going to power through what we're doing like a robot. We're going to do things and assess. Whenever I speak and people come up and say, that was so amazing, I would say, what did you love about it? Because I wanted to understand what was the common theme that I was doing so I could replicate it. And then, of course, I went to my growth friends and said, what could I do to get better? Garth and I did this at the beginning of APL Go. We had so many conversations the first 90 days because we were working 14-hour days here. And we would get off and be like, oh my gosh, that we could have done that a little better. Like, okay, let's never say that ever again. We would laugh at it. Like, are you reflectively being relentless? And are you looking at how it's going? Okay. Okay. The third 3x3, empowering up your productivity, is I want you to figure out your ideal self and who you need to be. That's going to be powering this vehicle, right? So we do that through the exercise of what words would describe your ideal self. And you could even specifically do it for APL Go. And I think that you should, because you might do this exercise for different roles that you play. You know, what words would describe me as an ideal wife might be different than just ideal self, might be different than as a mother. But let's start with what 3 words. And so just brainstorm what all the words that would describe you being your best self here, growing this business. And then I just want you to solidify and think and choose 3 and try them on for a little bit. And you can change your words if you need to. You can adjust and you can reflectively, look at, do I like my words? But see these 3 words, fit, free, and aligned. Those are my words. Those are burned in my brain. And when you activate this, it gets on the front windshield of your brain. Okay. And when we activate where we know where we're going from last week, amazing. So here's how we're going to completely change our brain. I want you to write these 5 words down. These are going to be your triggers to practicing something, because we change our habits through triggers. Every habit has a trigger. When we wake up and we're like, oh, it's time to brush our teeth, that's just a habit that we know that waking up is the trigger that we reflectively do. You can become that lethally and excellently skilled at how you think that turns you into a productivity ninja. So habits come with triggers, and triggers are the things that will change your thoughts. Triggers impact your thoughts. So if we can trigger you throughout the day and activate something, it will change your life. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's the 5 triggers. I'm going to tell you what to do with them. I want you to write these down: morning, evening, office, gym, if you go to the gym or if you move your body, and car. If you never go in your car, then just don't do car. So what are we going to do? Every time we wake up in the morning, every time our head hits the pillow at night, every time we sit down back at our office in our computer or our car office, every time we get in our car, and every time we move our body or go to the gym, we are going to practice for 10 seconds being in our ideal life. You are going to visit the thing that you defined last week. I will be in the home in Cabo. I will imagine the driver just pulled up with the Zimmers. Oh, Joby's next. Oh my God, they're all coming for the retreat. I will imagine. I will imagine what I cook. I will imagine, let's go to the beach. I will imagine, okay? I will imagine all the things. There's so many other things outside of the Cabo house. There's so many other things. You will never run out of things to imagine. You can imagine your 3 words. I am fit, free, and aligned. How can I go do this next thing being her? You can imagine. And here's what's going to supercharge it. 2 things. See it, say it. See it, say it. I want you to say that right now with me. See it, say it. See it, say it. See it, say it. The things that will change our brains are the things, research says, what we see visually and what we hear or auditorially. Did I say that word right? See it, say it. So I want you to see it, visualize. And if you want to 5 times your dream, research shows you'll say it out loud. You'll be audacious enough to say, and what I mean by that is you'll talk about it with people. Garth and I are constantly talking about like, okay, got it. And what like tile do we want in the house? And what, like who, okay. So, and he'll tell me, he's like, I just had this vision, like the team comes and we say, come down and we've got this picnic all ready for all of them. And then we go up and like, we just talk about it. So research shows that will multiply your dream by 5. If you say it out loud, you could, so see it, say it, see it, say it. Okay. Okay. So your 3 by 3, your 3 homework assignments are to share with us your 3 buckets of behaviors in APL Go that will get you to your dream life, your 3 skills that you want to focus on in the next, we're just all talking about the next 12 months, your 3 skills, and what are your 3 words for your ideal self. And remember, productivity is a measure of how well you're moving the needle on the things that matter most and how well you're leading your dream. So run every decision by your dream first before you say yes or no. Are you running every decision by your dream? Does this get me closer to X? Insert dream. Does this get me? Yep. Joby has it on her wall. So I'm going to stop the recording there and we'll open it up for discussion. So hold tight. Thanks for joining. Way to live, build your higher life.